But a report came out this week about Nintendo has, or well, they haven't come out and said, they've actually come out and said the contrary, but there is a...
I'm actually not going to stream this because I think that's eating up your internet connection.
Well, yeah, the upstream shouldn't be affected, but that's fine.
I'm downloading now.
Okay.
And it will, trust me. So, we're good.
So let's take a look at this. So the Wii U production is scheduled to stop very soon, which is a bit odd. I don't believe that Nintendo has ever stopped the production of one console before they release their next console. And we are kind of in that weird window.
It's a weird transition phase here.
It always is. And Nintendo has actually been really bad about this.
Yeah.
They did this with the... I remember the system transitions I remember were between Super Nintendo, 64 and GameCube and Wii and Wii U.
Ooh, I bet that Super Nintendo to 64 transition was just a disaster.
Well, I mean, it's kind of weird because that one wasn't actually that bad, really? Because we got like Kirby's Dream Land 3 in 1997, I think. And that was like the last first party developed game for the system. N64 released in 1996. So there was
the transition was okay. Like that wasn't
back then. It was.
I had I think when the DS came out, they still released a few Game Boy Advance games after that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And portables, they handle portables a bit differently.
Yeah.
But I remember once we started getting into the N64 GameCube transition, you saw, I want to say Majora's Mask came out, and maybe I can Google this in the meantime.
That was well before the GameCube.
Yes, it was. I want to say...
Was that the last Nintendo 64 game?
It was the last one that Nintendo came out with. And I don't like games because third party, they can kind of release a game whenever they feel like. But the original release date for Majora's Mask was April 27th, 2000. I knew it was 2000. I wasn't sure when. And so the GameCube out...
Oh my gosh, I'm old.
On... So just going off North America dates... Wow, November 18th, 2001. So that was a year plus that we got the last major song of the N64, basically. I mean, I think you had Perfect Dark come out, but that was done by Rare. Second.
Well, everyone, I think that was a really popular game on that system. I've never played it, but it wasn't it?
I mean, it was the follow-up to GoldenEye, so I think it did sell a bunch. But at that, I think when that came out, like the Dreamcast was out, and there wasn't a whole lot of interest for, more shooters on the aging hardware. But that is a long time, a year and a half.
It's a long time for gaming. Like when you look at gaming, you're like a year and a half. I mean, two Call of Duties get released in a year, and it's like. That is a long time for gaming.
Yes.
A year and a half is like, if you don't do stuff in a year and a half, no anymore. Like
right. And for that to happen, that was crazy. But the GameCube, and we're gonna get into these numbers later. The GameCube did not sell well at all for
ridiculous
console numbers.
And I love it.
I love the GameCube too.
Super Mario Sunshine.
I remember
Brawl. What Billy Hatcher?
Billy Hatcher done by Sonic Team. Weird
Sonic Adventure Battle 2. Super Monkey Ball was on it. The GameCube is a great, and plus tiny discs.
And this is why it's such a much better system than the N64. You didn't just have a whole bunch of racing games on it.
Yeah, but the N64 had Pokemon Snap.
Yeah,
it's like the best game ever.
They kind of gave up on Pokemon. Like they did the
XD and the Coliseum. Both those games were awful. Right. I hated them both.
Right, and I think that's why they stopped for a long while.
There was one game that came out for the GameCube that I think really overlooked game. It was called Custom Robo. It was rad.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much fun. I played that game for hours on end just with my friend.
If you think Custom Robo was good, you should have played Gotcha Force.
Oh, God, I don't know what that is.
Oh my god.
Digimon World 4 was for the GameCube as well. It was also on the PS2. Just for the game spent way too much time on that because I didn't know it was going. I never could beat it.
We probably wouldn't have had the amazing Resident Evil 4 the way we know it today without the GameCube.
The GameCube was an amazing console. I don't know what happened.
So then we got into the transition between.
Well, the PS2 happened is what happened.
Well, yeah. That and they were still using the stupid little proprietary disc that could only hold 1.1 gig. They were cute, but that's it. They had a lot of multi-disc games that you had to use. Resident Evil 4 was 2 discs long, and that was kind of annoying. Now, when we get into the GameCube Wii transition, I remember that was bad. I remember the only game Nintendo was like...
That was confusing.
Well, they were advertising, it made me mad that they basically took Twilight Princess, which... we had been looking forward to. They announced that in like 2003.
In 9 years?
It wasn't. Well,
it felt like 40, and I'm 19.
It was 3. It was supposed to be like that was one of those games. That was one of those titles where they just kept pushing back.
It was infuriating.
And then they just pushed
I remember.
Yeah, they pushed it. They got to a point where it's like, okay, guys, I know you're ready, but now you're just making this Wii version and shoehorning it in as a launch title. And what really made me mad. November of 2006, Wii comes out this as a launch title. The GameCube version, they made you wait another month and a half.
Was that what happened?
That's what they did.
I bought the GameCube version first. Beautiful game, regardless of the system. Really great game.
Yeah.
However,
the Wii version, they did that weird mirror thing.
Yeah, I felt like when I got it for the GameCube, the years of hype were just kind of like, And the Wii was out, and the only thing I could think was like, when I get a Wii, I've got to buy. So, like, the whole time, I just hated that. I was always wanting the Wii, and then the Wii came out, they didn't make enough units of it, and they sold out in like a day. That was awful. I don't know. I hated the Wii. I hate it.
In retrospect, not the best system, but
I like the Wii U. I hate the Wii. Wii Sports. I played Wii Sports and
yeah,
Link's crossbow training.
Hey.
I think I played that.
At least they did right by doing the backwards compatibility with GameCube.
They did. I liked that.
But
that's what I used it mostly for, and that bothered me because
games.
I sold my GameCube to get a Wii and then played GameCube games on it. So
yeah, it wasn't an HD system that kind of hurt them in the long run, I think. But when they did this for, I'm trying to think. Oh, so yeah, the transition period to the Wii. Their game that they were advertising, because they didn't want to advertise Twilight Princess, that would take away from the Wii sales.
Yeah.
Chibi Robo.
For the Wii? Is that what they were doing?
No, for the GameCube.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You want a late life cycle GameCube game? We've got Chibi Robo, which is not a bad game, but
cool game. New
franchise, untested, kind of weird looking, very Japanese
very Japanese style.
Yes,
that's yeah. But see, that appealed to me. But when I'm looking at it,
when that's
you just kind of notice. You know what I mean? It's like you look at the box art and it's not a popping thing. It looks like a cute little 3D anime, and so you're like, I don't really want to play an anime. And then like you look at it and I'm like, I don't really like. You look at the back of the box. I remember looking at the back of the box and not really knowing what.
Right.
And then just overlooking it. I never played it, and it looks cool.
What was Sergeant Banana Man would like to know? What was your favorite GameCube game?
Oh my goodness. It's Melee. It's Super Smash Bros. Melee. If we're excluding that, there was a Zelda collection for it that had
Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition.
Yeah,
it had Zelda 1, 2, Majora's Mask, and Waker demo,
and it also had Speaking of which, forgot about Wind Waker. Wind Waker was a beautiful game. It has to be that collection because it had Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, and then Master's Quest as well, and it was awesome.
And it played them at higher resolutions than when you can get on.
And Majora's Mask is one of my favorite games of all time, just because of how, when I was younger, of how infuriating the whole mechanic was, and I didn't understand it. And then when I did understand it, I was like, "This is awesome," and I played it all the time. And there's actually a story behind how I got the game, because a friend left it over at my house, and then we had a falling out, and he just never got his game back. So, yeah, I enjoyed that game for a long time. But yeah, it was Melee.
I would have to say Melee for me. That I played that game the most.
Can't overlook Super Mario Sunshine though. Also amazing.
I don't think it belongs as a number one on anyone's list though.
No.
It's good.
It's a great game though.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
And I don't. A lot of people think it's terrible. I played it. I want to say
great.
I played it about a year and a half ago for the first time.
Oh really?
Yeah.
On an emulator?
No, on my Wii.
Oh, yeah,
that played GameCube games. Even though I have my GameCube here. Kind of back onto the whole transitions, and then the Wii and the Wii U, you know, kind of the same deal. So we're in the same transition period between Wii U being phased out and the Switch, even though the Wii U and 3DS will go concurrently with the Switch. We all know that is a giant load.
How do you know that? I don't understand.
What?
How do you know that?
History.
History, okay.
They said the exact same thing about the Game Boy line and the DS. They said the Game Boy line will continue right alongside the DS. The DS is not a replacement for the Game Boy. You say that so that your investors in your company don't, they're like, well, hang on, hold on a second. Game Boy is something that's established. We like the fact that people will spend money on something established over something that's brand new. Brand recognition. You're bringing up a new brand. This better not replace it. So they say that to save face for their investors. I mean, that's why they're saying it.
At this point, is it really a new brand though? Like Nintendo Switch, yeah, sure, big.
Yeah, they're dropping the Wii name.
Difference.
The Wii name has been around for 10 years now.
They're dropping the Wii name, but it's a Nintendo console.
Right. Well,
does it really change that much? Like when I look at the GameCube and I look at the Wii, I see a GameCube that has the special controllers and the sensor bar. That's what I see. Mm-hmm. Like, and then I see a Wii U, I see an HD Wii, and then I see the Nintendo Switch, and I see just Nintendo trying to be innovative again. And it's I don't know.
It's just historically from what they've said.
I don't see it being a new thing. It's a Nintendo console. That's what I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mark my words though. The Wii U.
If they're lying, they're lying.
Yeah.
But
the Wii U's days are definitely numbered.
Why is that a problem for you?
I'm not saying. I just want them to be honest.
Oh yeah. No. You said it makes you sad that this is happening.
Oh well, and it's sad that because the Wii U, I don't think is a bad system.
No, it's not.
Is it underpowered? Of course it's underpowered.
Yeah,
we've had underpowered systems from Nintendo since the Wii. You could make the argument for the Super Nintendo.
But that's not what the system's about.
Right. The system is about... Okay, I look at it as this. Even though I don't like Apple, I'm going to use Apple as an example.
We'll talk about that another time.
So their hardware... I'm sorry if you're an Apple fanboy, but their hardware is underpowered when compared to almost all the other flagship Android phones
optimized amazingly though.
But exactly.
I'll give it that.
Their software or their operating system, their firmware it
uses everything almost perfectly.
Right. Now the downside to that, of course, is you don't get as much openness in the system.
Which is why I hate them.
You can't customize anything, but you get great battery life. You get so much more out of
apps don't crash.
A quarter
Snapchat updates faster.
Right.
Everything.
Unless you have the Facebook app and then it slows everything down. But that's Facebook.
I don't know. I do know that I don't like Apple, but they do what they do well.
Right.
And that's Nintendo.
And Nintendo's very similar.
I hate that. I hate that I just said that. Apple is the Nintendo, or Nintendo is the Apple of gaming.
But what's so funny, and there's someone on YouTube I watch. The channel is called Review Tech USA. Got this guy named Rich on there. He was talking about how, and this is during a time when the PS4 and Xbox One kind of just dropped on the market. Nintendo, I don't know if it was a tweet or something that a developer said, but they made the comment that during like the first 6 months of those systems being out, the Wii U had more games running at 1080p 60 frames per second.
Nintendo tweeted that?
Or something. Someone said it somewhere from Nintendo, just kind of like, hey gamers, we have more 1080p 60 frames per second options for you than our competitors do. And we're kind of shoveling out, remastered, or here's the definitive definition of Tomb Raider, and all that stuff. So
with slightly more options,
right?
Tingle bottles,
right? So the game, is capable of very pretty games. Just look at Smash Brothers. Just look at the HD versions of Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
Still haven't played Twilight
Breath
Princess
of the Wild looks incredible. And all we've seen so far is Wii U footage. We haven't seen what it looks like on the Switch.
Which is great, because when I bought my Wii U, the guy was like, maybe you should wait until Breath of the Wild is like, shown for the Wii U. And I was like, it's got to be for the Wii U. And I got it. I was like, I was tired of not being able to play Super Smash Bros. And Pokken. I had never gotten a chance to play it. So I was like, I'm going to get that because I have a job now and I'm going to waste my money like an adult. And I bought that, and what did I get with that? I bought the Wind Waker HD remake, I bought Pokken, and then I bought Super Smash Bros. And it's what I play the most now as a console.
I'm playing Wii U now over my PS4.
After Final Fantasy 15 comes out, that's not going to be a thing. But but Final Fantasy is one of those games that you wait a long time for, and I play out. I don't play Final Fantasy games. Like, I rip them to the middle of the bone.
Conquer them.
I wait so long for them and love them so much. I give them the attention and the gameplay time that they deserve. You know what I mean? Secret bosses are there for a reason. Mm-hmm. They're not there just so some guy on YouTube can post about how they're getting or hit by them. It's so that you, as a player, can reach a point where you can get in there and do that. Wow, I really went off on that tangent. But that's for then. For now, the Wii U is what I play the most. Which I never thought would be the case. But I play so much Super Smash Bros. Though.
Here's a suggestion. Have you ever played any of the Dynasty Warriors games?
Yeah.
Get Hyrule Warriors.
I don't want it.
You don't want it?
I don't want it. I love the Dynasty Warriors games, but like, they die so quickly. Like the intrigue of the Dynasty Warriors games. Like when I play them, I'm like, okay, just slash.
But that's not the. That's like saying you don't like Smash. I know you love Smash Brothers.
I love Smash.
That's like saying, well, I don't like Smash Brothers because doing the attacks is so basic. There's so much more than just slashing, though. It's basically
you like
resource management. It's kind of got an RTS feel to
it. Does
it
it have? If it has that in it, see, because I've played it before and I don't.
How long has it been?
It's get to this objective fast enough for this person not to die.
Yeah, they still have that, but
and
they have
it's just
others
like
too.
Kill as many people on the way there as you can.
They have boss fights too, though.
What do you mean?
They have like bosses actually show up. Like I'm not talking about generals.
Oh,
I'm talking about like. King Dodongo is like a boss that shows up, and you have to use specific strategies to beat him. You can't just run up and hit him.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
It's still expensive.
That's another issue with Nintendo.
It's still expensive.
Our games are always expensive. And I've noticed that, they do have, it's not player's choice anymore. It's like Nintendo Platinum or Nintendo, they do lower game prices, which they haven't done yet with PS4 and Xbox One games. I've noticed like there's no greatest hits yet for PlayStation 4 games.
I feel like especially even with stuff like GTA 5. GTA 5 is literally going to be pulling money forever. Like they don't have to lower the price.
I think I just saw it hit $40,
Oh,
and
really?
like it was like, this is the lowest we've ever seen it. Buy it now.
Yeah.
And that's the PlayStation 4, Xbox One version.
It's crazy how long that game has been full price. And I've never even played it. I played it at a friend's house for like 20 minutes. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I get it. I get why people like it. I just don't.
It's a technical marvel of a game.
Yeah. It's great. However, I don't really like it that much, but it has been that high for a really long time. Yeah. I don't understand. But we were talking about the Wii U.
Wii U. You getting sidetracked. But, yeah, as far as it's, if the production is ending, that must mean that they must have a lot in storage. So there's going to be plenty to buy. And let's get into these numbers that I have.
Oh, they're so sad.
So this is as of June. I want to say this was June of 2016. And the list here. So just for let's go over some of the big ones here. PlayStation 2.
For good reason.
Best selling. PlayStation 2 is my all-time favorite console.
It deserves that spot.
157 million units sold.
Is that a worldwide statistic?
I do believe these are the worldwide. Yes, worldwide video game console sales worldwide for products total lifespan as of June 2016. Nintendo DS has 154, almost 155, so that is a real close second. Then we have the Game Boy, PlayStation, Nintendo Wii, and those are all 100 million and above units sold. GameCube. We mentioned GameCube. Kind of looked at as a failure of a unit. Almost 22 million units sold. The PlayStation Vita, 13.9 million units sold. And
I don't know anyone that has a Vita. I don't know a single person that has a PS Vita.
I've seen people playing them, so I know that they've been purchased at one point or another.
And
that's a system I would love to play, not to play Vita games, but to play like PSP games on a really pretty OLED screen.
There were, when I bought a PSP, like I was young and I did not have a job. There was no financial way for me to get one. Mm-hmm. I found enough money eventually, and by the time I was getting it, like they weren't even making PSP games anymore. So I had them all at my disposal, and I played Dissidia, I played Crisis Core, and
two of the best games.
And I played that game, or I played those a lot. I tried to jailbreak it and stuff, but and it was annoying. It's crazy. What, did you jailbreak it? Homebrewed. Well, did you have to use a Pandora battery, or did you?
Nope.
Back when I was trying to do the PSP, did you have a PSP 2000? I had a PSP 3000.
I have a 3000.
How did you jailbreak a 3000?
Well, we'll cover that in the next episode. No, I'm just kidding. We won't cover that here, but it's a lot easier nowadays.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure it is. The Pandora battery was like you basically had to blow your PSP up.
At one point, you could only do it if you had the game Lemmings.
Yeah.
Or Lumens. It was either Lumens or Lemmings. I always get those two games mixed up.
I think it was Lemmings.
Which was a launch title, and like you had to have that. You had to have the save data.
Well, back when the jailbreaks for the Wii were originally coming out, the homebrewed Wii, you had to have Twilight Princess, and you had to be really early in the game, and there was like the bridge early in the game or whatever, and then you had to do some stuff like insert your USB, then turn 360 degrees, and then the bridge would disappear. It would go white, and then like the letters would load up, and you're like, how did that happen?
How was this found out?
How was this found out? And
there's so many people out there that just like have all this time on their hands.
And I that to work, and then I broke my Wii. So
Wii U
did break my Wii.
Back to the Wii U. So by comparison, Vita, and keeping in mind,
I don't know any.
The handheld consoles are not held to the same standard as home consoles. They normally say, okay, so let's see, so PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable were in the same lifespan together. PlayStation 3 sold a total of 86 million units, which actually just barely sold out the 360, believe it or not. And then the PlayStation Portable sold, 80.8 million units. Normally, they only expect a handheld model when compared to the console to sell roughly half.
I knew a lot of people with PSPs.
Yeah. PSPs are great systems.
That's why I ended up getting one, because I was like, why am I the only one without a PSP?
So Wii U, at the very bottom of the list, 13 million units sold as of June. That number is probably going to go up maybe by 1 million, between June of last year and June of next year. But
I wonder if these numbers, see this numbers here, how many people do you think have bought their Wii U off of like eBay, or have they bought it?
I mean, I bought mine refurbished
from a used game store that these numbers don't account for,
right?
Because that's the kind of day and age we live in,
right?
People don't buy new things.
And see, that's my big. So
these numbers are probably a little like, I'm sure many more people bought their Wii U from a refurbished store / eBay than they bought their PS2 from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Nintendo has a really good track record of their hardware not breaking down. Their stuff lasts. My GameCube is still ticking. You can. I think the NES, just with the toaster mechanic and the pin connector breaks. Super Nintendo's, Nintendo 64, those things are built like tanks. Same thing with GameCube.
Super Nintendo looks like a tank.
It kind of
slightly
with purple.
Those are the rockets.
But see, this is the entire time we've had the Wii U, that Nintendo never once dropped the price on the Wii U. It launched at $300 and stayed there. At one point, you even got a game with it, Nintendo Land. And now nowadays you can get bundles, but it's like the digital copies, like Mario Kart 8, the Wind Waker bundle.
Something that they're not like. That's not them spending money. That's just they. A lot of times it's either not. Well, I think they do that with the 3DS game, but with the Wii U, they give you a code. Yeah.
They never drop the price. With and I've talked about this before, the 3DS launched at $250, and when it wasn't selling, even before like the big titles hit, like Super Mario 3D Land, Smash Brothers on 3DS, I want to say there were a couple other big ones that dropped.
There was that Legend of Zelda game that came on it.
A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
And, before those big titles,
Animal Crossing is one. So
3D released.
That was and the Majora's Mask, but it was like limited.
Majora's Mask was like 2.5 years after Ocarina of Time, I want to say.
Wow.
On the 3DS.
Jeez.
It was right before the new Nintendo 3DS came out.
Yeah.
But what they ended up doing was they dropped the price from $250 to like $180.
It's a big difference.
And this is before Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 were coming out. So they were like, it's here. Why did they never? And I want to say that it's sold like close to 60 million units now. It's a successful system.
It's just bad marketing, man.
Well, it's bad marketing. I'm not so. A lot of people, say like, well, you shouldn't. I don't necessarily think that was a bad move.
It's not. I don't think it's that. Well, it actually might have been that. Like, I think I put off the Wii U for such a long time because I was like, one, I didn't want to buy a system for one game, and that was going to be Super Smash Bros. And two, I hate the Wii. I hate it with a passion. Like, if there's anything in my room,
least favorite.
If there's anything in my room I need to break out of anger, I will get my Wii U from the drawer and I will throw it at my wall because I hate it.
Not your Wii U.
My Wii U is perfect.
I will say, well, I don't. To me, it's a toss up. I don't know which one's worse, Wii or the Nintendo 64. I really don't like the 64. Terrible controller.
Yeah, it was grody, but
cartridge when they should have done optic media. Yeah. Like they made I feel like they made a lot more mistakes with the 64 than. Well, no.
I just hate the Wii.
Yeah, you know what? No, I'm gonna say Wii. Wii is probably my least favorite with Nintendo 64. Close second.
And so them calling it it actually did kind of put me off that it was the Wii U. I didn't know what was different about it, and I didn't care enough to look into it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was the Wii U. I thought it was a Wii with like some modifications, which
most people did.
But it's got the gamepad, which I like that. If they called this like the Wii Switch or something, this new console, I don't think that would put people off. I mean, their trailer had Skyrim in it, so
yeah, people know that they're getting a different
know about this console, and I think this one will do well.
Right.
Also, I remember when the Wii U came out, I barely saw anything about it.
Yeah.
I barely saw anything.
They did.
I watched The Walking Dead. I didn't see any Wii U commercials. I saw Xbox commercials.
Right.
And I bought an Xbox.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, I don't know. They did a pretty bad job with the marketing on the Wii U.
So Nintendo says,
say so myself, but I did end up buying a Wii U, so who knows?
Yeah. And Nintendo says they are going to that they're not going to of the system anytime soon. Other reports say otherwise. Whether or not, though, it is kind of sad. I do believe we're seeing the end of the Wii U. The 3DS,
I feel like I saw the end of the Wii U a long time ago. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, and we think about it. We're in November 2016 right now, as of this recording. The system launched exactly 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
4 years. That's not a full life cycle, though.
It's been a while. Well, it's been a while, and not only that, but like look at the units, man. Like they're
not moving.
They're not moving, so they're trying to get something else out.
They never dropped the price.
It was stupid of them.
Yeah.
Because if they had dropped the price, that's probably something I would have gotten a long time ago.
$200. You don't even have to include a game. Just $200.
$200, yeah.
People would have bought it at that price.
And then went to $300 after they bought 2 games with it.
Yeah. So, no one to blame but yourselves, Nintendo, on that one. Hopefully, you will not repeat the same problems.
This
with
Switch thing does look great.
It's
that trailer kind of blew me away.
The trailer looks
too many hipsters in it though. Well, I was like, these people don't play the Wii.
Well, I looked at them more as they were trying to put out their 20s and 30 somethings playing video games. Mm-hmm. No kids, no families.
Yeah.
That's what they were going for. But they're off to a good foot with the marketing on that one. So